Twitch in 3, 2.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day and good summer, Internet.
Is it? Is it though?
Is it? Is
No.
your summer been not so good?
Just hot. It's
Yeah, but
freaking-
isn't that kind of goes with the season?
Now on my stream just now, it started with Scott.
Oh, so the way Twitch works is it has there is that build up, that delay, which is partly why I do the sign in thing.
Yeah.
Or the timer thing. So you want to start a little ahead if you're trying to capture everything for the live folks.
We should try to figure out how to make it so that if you're watching, you get us saying "Good day, Internet." Although all the audio people still get it. So.
And it goes out in the Patreon feed because I take the I take whatever records.
For the people watching live, I guess it'd be kind of nice if we figured that out.
I think the VOD gets it, but if you give it like 30 seconds, that'd be safe. I think
30-second pad.
Yeah, if you do, it used to be longer, but I think the default now is around 30 seconds of lag, which can be adjusted, but I don't think unless you've changed it.
Well, yeah, I'm watching it, and I counted to 3, and then I said "Good day, Internet," and then Roger did, and then I saw you, so that was less than 30 by a long shot.
Yeah, it may be less now, actually.
15 seconds.
Oh, wait, is that it?
10 seconds? I'm just
I'm looking it up.
I'm looking at numbers greater than 3, but less than 30.
The thing that Cord Killers and Current Geek do is they play some music and video kind of until they're sure that it's live, and then we start talking.
Yeah, and I have a timer. I mean, that's mostly for just, hey, everybody get in here, we're about to start sort of seats, but
I know, something to think about anyway.
Yeah.
I'm recording.
Okay, I'm about 7 or 8 seconds is all, but that's different. I have mine on this low latency setting.
Low latency is about 8 seconds, says Web and Magic. That makes sense.
That's about right.
Does it matter to you, the Twitch audience? Let us know in chat.
Call us 1-800
delay.
If you're listening to this, if you're listening or watching this later, and you're like, "How do I watch live?" We say it at the end of every show. You may not realize it because we've been saying it forever. You may just kind of like goes right through your brain. DailyTechNewsShow.com/live, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, is when the DTNS goes live. But 15 minutes before that, we go live with Good Day Internet. So just go there, and that will take you to the Twitch channel. You can click through to get right into the Twitch channel and all that, but it's embedded on that page, DailyTechNewsShow.com/live.
Nice.
Oh, and then there's the notifications. BioCow's like, I just got the notification that you're live, even though he already knew we were live. So if you're waiting for notifications, sometimes that doesn't come right away. Now, Zoe Brings Bacon listens with her ears and watches with her eyes. I'm not sure everybody does that, but if you do, that's going to work out best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Some people watch by feel.
Some people feel by watch.
Some people may have synesthesia.
Some people might feel my watch and then
maybe smelling the colors.
And then perhaps move it over into their pocket.
Knots likes having a brief countdown or musical intro to ease you into the stream.
Dun, 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 dun.
Whoa. You're going to do Girl from Ipanema for your whole music? I like it.
Why not? Yeah.
Play that on repeat.
Yeah, just put that in a loop.
I'll put an entire album of Air Supply on a loop. You can't tell where it begins or ends.
I have some non-copyrighted Turkish music that I sometimes play because I know I'm not going to get in trouble for it, and it's
what's the deal with music on Twitch? Is there any approved music, or is it just sort of like?
There's definitely Twitch safe music, and Twitch curates a giant list of it, but it's also.
I couldn't find that list anymore. I found the URL, but when I went there, there was nothing there.
Oh, well, so what I've done, so here's what they do. If you're playing something that's copyrighted in the middle of your show or whenever, they'll mute a big swath of the VOD, including stuff that happened before that and after that to discourage it. But there's no takedown notices or anything. They just mute you. I know. I kind of wish YouTube would do that, but anyway. What I've done lately is I'll go on YouTube actually and search for Twitch safe music, which you can usually count on being accurate. And then you find like big playlists of stuff that's totally cool for Twitch. And I'll use that kind of just as hanging around.
When are we going to get to the universal licensing of music so that if you're using a service like Facebook's doing, where it'll
agree. That's how it should be. Like, I noticed.
I'd pay a little money into that just to be like, you know what? I just want to be able to play whatever, and you all figure out how to pay people. Like I want people to get their money. Don't get me wrong. But I also don't want to be like, well, you can't actually promote people's music that you like. Forget it.
Yeah, like right now, if I play my nephew has 2 albums. He would love it if I played those pre and post stream. If I play those, I get takedown notices from his label.
Yeah,
does stuff through Spotify and Apple, and it's just annoying as crap.
Oh, someday when we're dead, they'll figure all this out.
He's giving me like direct permission, man.
Would it be ironic if it happened right after you died and I would still be around?
Well, that's when they're going to figure out immortality. The minute I die.
The minute you die.
Like, no one else ever has to die. He was the last one. And I'll never know. I'll never know if that's the case or not.
I'll know, Tom. I'll know. I mean, it doesn't help you, but I will know.
You first.
And I will say it is both ironic.
You heard Tom. He threatened
funny.
Roger's life. Good day, internet.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but yeah, that's kind of how it worked out. And then we'll kind of maybe do a series where you kind of narrate bits of your life posthumously using machine learning to replicate your voice, synthesize your voice.
That'll be easy by then. You're right.
I'm Tom Merritt.
It'll be better than that.
Maybe I wonder if you need to like read particular passages or words or phrases in order to build up like a vocabulary, but also do it at different emphasis. For example, like you're super flustered or frustrated.
Well, yeah, and then you could get it from different eras of my life. You could have young Tom, old Tom,
and then it mixes it all up, and your accent comes and goes.
You could have this Tom right here.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, what's that from?
That's 16-year-old Tom.
That's awesome.
Did 16-year-old Tom have a bowl cut?
Here, listen.
Thank you. This is only my first day, and listen to that applause. All right.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, Tom, that's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, it's my first day on the radio in 1986.
Wow.
I was in 6th grade in 86. 6th grade.
So you could have that Tom. You could have this Tom. You could have middle-aged Tom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Tom Club.
Implying that I'm old now. Not. New toast Tom. Yeah, from the So Brilliant TV show.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about? I don't know. What other Tom is there?
Oh, Strike It Rich wants to know what radio format. Well, let me tell you.
Thank you.
AM.
Thank you. This is only my first day, and listen to that applause. All right. Tom Merritt here with you on WGEL, the best country in the country.
There you go. Answers your question.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
The best country in the country.
It makes me want to go dig up all my old tapes. I'm not going to do it, but it makes me want to.
The best country in the country.
I've pretty much sounded the same my entire life.
We have Marie Osmond coming up.
Roger, I'd love to hear you as a little kid, like a little prepubescent kid.
It sounds exactly like I do right now.
Right now? Mom.
Except
Just
maybe a
maybe
higher
like-
pitched.
Yeah, like just a tiny bit higher pitch. That's all.
Generously
Otherwise,
shares bits of his professional past.
Mom, I want more applesauce, says Roger.
I never had applesauce as a kid.
Pork chops and
I
applesauce.
didn't have applesauce until college.
You never wait. Why did you never have applesauce until college? Also, why do you remember that? Was it
because I remember the first time I ate applesauce because I bought a jar of it.
You'd heard so much about it, and you're like, I got to find out what this applesauce is.
No, it was
all
actually because I
about.
think it was on sale, and this is right when I moved out, and I was just looking for stuff I could eat en masse, but at a relatively.
And you'd
low
heard
cost.
so much tell about this applesauce that you remembered your first time.
I think I was like, yeah, maybe I'll get this. I don't know.
You know, it was college. Roger was experimenting.
I was experimenting with a lot of things. I tried to make it through a semester eating nothing but cold cuts. I felt very unhealthy at the end of it.
Yeah, I can imagine. You need some grains.
Well, yeah, I used like that, whole grain bread.
Oh, you said nothing but cold cuts. I took
like
you literally,
sandwiches.
like-
Sorry, like
Yeah.
eating
Okay.
sandwiches.
Okay. That's not too bad, but yeah, it's probably not great for you.
I mean,
You were
mostly I
missing
think I was
veggies.
just done with like
You didn't eat any veggies with it. You didn't put lettuce, tomato
yeah,
on it
I
or
put
anything.
less in it.
Oh, okay. Well, it probably wasn't that bad then.
No, but I just got sick of it. I was just done.
Yeah. There's the monotony that got you more than the nutritional.
Probably. It's probably what happens when you're fed the same diet, which is why
See,
animals.
when you said you went the whole semester eating only cold cuts, I
Oh,
took
I'm
you
sorry.
literally like nothing else. No bread, no
No.
vegetables.
But you know,
cold cuts.
I think that's why
Like,
animals
yeah, no
get
wonder
all
you-
really kind of lethargic and like dull in the zoo because you keep feeding. You gotta mix it up. You gotta put a Lunchable in there.
There's
once in a while.
also the instinctual need to hibernate. That is also why they did get that.
Also, I mean, they would probably not like to be in the same room for 8 years.
Gets boring.
Roger.
There was a thing on, I think, the Economist podcast where they were talking to a lady who had taken part in an experiment in Mauna Loa of being separated from people, trying to simulate a Mars trip.
Oh.
Like, okay, you're cooped up in this space, and you've got a delayed internet because you're far away from Earth, and they said that they took to enforced movie nights, like. You were like required to watch the movie with everyone because you needed the break. People needed them to break up the monotony.
Wow.
Huh. Interesting. What else? They weren't allowed to smoke, or were they allowed any vices like alcohol or stuff like that?
Alcohol, maybe. I don't think you would smoke because smoking wouldn't be allowed on a space mission. And
Our valuable air has been contaminated with your non-filtered Marlboros.
Yep.
yeah, fire on spacecraft, not a thing they.
But it's the plot of so many sci-fi series.
And it can be. Yeah.
It was a plot. It was a plot in
I've learned anything from
Battlestar Galactica, where the episode was titled "Fire in Space."
Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in Buck Rogers, the 25th Century, with Gil Gerard.
Was Twiggy on fire? Because that
No, it was a ship. I think it was a
I'm
shuttle.
on
They were
fire.
trying to get out of it.
beady beady beady, get some water. Beady beady beady, I'm burning. Yeah.
It burns.
See, this is why they put people in hibernation in those, what do they call it? Hibernation, those sleep chambers for long journeys, because you'd be bored to death.
Suspended animation.
When they used to say
That's not a real thing, though. So they have to test for the real thing.
Yeah.
Going back to what I was talking about.
That's right. You got to have the real stuff. Maybe intergalactic legalized prostitution, Roger. That would be
yeah, but that would be very expensive. And also, how would you get all those prostitutes to board your little spacecraft?
Okay, settle down, everybody.
Space credits. That's all. Those are cheap.
Space credits.
Goodness.
That's the money of
Is that like Disney bucks, where you end up at the park and they say no Disney bucks accepted? Can I pay my parking? Can I pay my parking fee with a Disney buck? No.
I do worry that if space is to have the credits and everyone's accepted sort of universal currency, that it will be some awful combination of microtransactions and cryptocurrencies. And like, what does that even look like? It's so easy to just make it up for a book or something, but actual intergalactic tradable currency is
it's probably going to be based on a very rare mineral.
No, it's Libra.
Right, it's Libra.
No, I'm not even joking. Like, it may not be actually Libra, but Libra is what that looks like.
What if? Okay, here's an idea. I don't want to freak you guys out or anything, but if we get good at like quantum transference, like we can move things around at a quantum level. What if somebody we'll use Zuckerberg. When Zuckerberg turns 80 and passes away, whatever age he's going to die, his body, because of his value, is broken down into individual atoms. And the atoms are stored in some sort of central banking system that can be quantumly sent around as needed. And it becomes a rare mineral or a rare metal.
But nothing he's made up of is actually all that rare.
No, but
what's your dollar bill worth, Scott?
I don't know. Two horns to the hog's head. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, it's not backed by anything. There's no minuscule Zuckerberg molecules. There's no gold standard. There's no silver. Nothing.
Right.
It's based on agreement.
Right. But wouldn't that be cool? That since it's just based on agreement, because I agree with you, I agree on your agreement assessment. I'm just saying, instead of handing around paper or chips or whatever it ends up being, or just electronic transfers, why not those transfers be a single Zuckerberg molecule, which there are what, billions?
What Tom is saying is you wouldn't need to.
I think you don't need the Zuckerberg molecule. You
It's
can have it if it just makes it cooler for you. I get it.
All I'm
I
saying.
get what you're
Is it
saying.
because you want Zuckerbucks?
I want Zuckerbucks.
You're working towards Zuckerbucks. And I respect that. Trust me.
That's
I mean,
5 Zuckerbucks.
That'll be 5 Zuckerbucks.
It was the original name of Libra, and they're like, you know what? I think that sends the wrong message. People might
maybe
think
we
we're
should
breaking
take
down
your
Mark
face off
Zuckerberg
the
into
coin.
molecules to back this currency. Let's call it Libra instead.
Man, that was mind-bendingly good
Well,
content.
you know, in the movie Ice Pirates, the currency of choice was water. Very
Much like
valuable.
Waterworld.
Was it the currency? I thought soil or something else. Was.
Dirt was the big thing. Dirt and paper. So if you had a bunch of dirt, you had
paper.
money and paper.
So wait, in Waterworld, I don't remember I know the ice caps melted and all that, but there was no land available, or just not a lot of land.
I don't want to spoil anything for this 25-year-old movie, but there at the end there was land. They found it finally.
Because even if all the polar caps and everything was all melted, you would still have land. It's not like
maybe it depends.
In this one, they did find land. There was rumored to be land they found. It's just really hard to get to, so the world gets smaller for people, right?
What if an ice pirate molecule landed?
So wait a minute. If he took his horse from
the Old Town Road
from
road,
the postman,
they can't no more,
and he delivered the last mail by his little raft to another part of the
you
world.
can't wait for your Porsche.
You're mixing the postman with water.
And then he ends up in a cornfield where they find a baseball diamond.
It's
a field of water.
Well, don't forget how the Mariner cheated. So what would happen is Kevin Costner would go. He knew where all the stuff was because he had gills, right? He had mutated, so he could go underwater, and nobody knew what was down there because they couldn't survive. He could go down to Denver, which is what they showed in the movie, and he would scoop up large amounts of dirt, bring it up top, and then he would use it as currency. He was basically cheating the system.
All right, so we'll hold off on any more conversation about the Costnerverse.
Ooh, I like that Costnerverse.
Shall we do a daily tech news show?
We totally should.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. Coming up on DTNS, is Apple done for? Hope for data portability and a free streaming TV service, Locast, finally gets sued. This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, July 31st, 2019 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
Rocking and rolling in Salt Lake City. I'm Scott Johnson.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Sarah Lane is out today on another assignment. We wish her the best. We miss her. She will be back next week. But if you missed Good Day Internet, you missed us talking about the Kevin Costnerverse, along with cryptocurrency and much more. Get that and more at patreon.com/DTNS. Let's start with a few tech things you should know. Spotify added 8 million subscribers last quarter. That missed estimates by 500,000, but Spotify says monthly active users grew 7% to 232 million, and paid subscribers grew 9% to 108 million. Due to free trials and discount promotions, however, the average revenue per user fell 1% since last quarter to €4.86. Spotify reported a revenue rise of 31% over last year. That narrowed its operating loss down to $3.34 million. Analysts had expected them to lose 62, so that's better. Spotify has reached new licensing deals with 2 of the 4 major record labels, with active talks ongoing with the other 2. And Spotify's podcast audience grew more than 50% since last quarter.
Still pretty new, still doing good. DJI announced new first-person view, or FPV goggles, a high-definition camera and transmitter. The FPV Experience Kit includes goggles, 2 transmitters, and 2 cameras for $819 US. The Fly More Kit includes a Phantom-style controller, the goggles, and 1 transmitter and 1 camera for $929. The kits can stream 720p video at 120 or 60 frames per second with a latency of 28 milliseconds at a range of up to 2.5 miles.
Drone racers. Check it out. Samsung reported its profit fell 56% last quarter as memory chip prices declined due to oversupply. In fact, Samsung's head of investor relations, Robert Yee, warned that trade restrictions, not just between the U.S. and China, but also between Korea and Japan, are going to mean, quote, "We no longer believe it is possible to reasonably predict or forecast our free cash flow for 2018 through 2020. Samsung projected its NAND chip inventories will start to come down. That should help ease the price pressure. And it reported server customers are buying more DRAM, and they expect that to continue. Operating profit for Samsung's chip division fell 71%, and profit for mobile fell 42% over last year.
Well, Chrome 76 has decided to make some news today. It's launched on Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and iOS. It now blocks Flash by default. That is to say, Adobe Flash. For those maybe not in the know, users can turn Flash back on in its settings if they want to, but keep in mind that Flash will have its full support removed entirely from Chrome next year. So they're taking it all out. This right now is temporary, going to be gone for good then. Chrome 76 also prevents websites from knowing if you're using incognito mode, and an install button from Progressive Web Apps now shows up in Omnibox, or in the Omnibox, I should say.
The spirit of 76. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Apple. We gave you the hard numbers yesterday, but refresh your memory. Apple reported revenue of $53.8 billion, up 1% year over year, despite revenue declines in Europe and China. iPhone revenues overall fell 12% from $26.5 billion last year to $26 billion. That means, if you're doing the math in your head, that iPhone now makes up less than half of Apple's revenue, and that's the first time it's been that way in 7 years. Services, which is Apple's new hope, grew 12.6% year over year to $11.45 billion. And Apple says they have 420 million paid subscribers across all offerings. So Apple Music, iCloud, et cetera, driven by strong growth of the App Store in China. So even if they're not making the revenue in China based off the phones, they are still making some money off the App Store there, and that helped drive services growth. Other categories like wearables, iPad, and Mac each contributed about $5 billion to revenue. Apple also noted a 50% increase in monthly users of its TV app and reported that Apple Pay doubled since last year to almost reach 1 billion transactions per month. So all of that's going well. Apple said that despite slowing phone sales, its install base of phones is higher than ever, including a rise in the install base in China. And if you're like, well, wait a minute, if they're not selling as many phones, how's that possible? Well, they say customer loyalty. People keep their iPhones. They don't trade them in for other things. They just keep them longer. And a strong aftermarket. So the people who do get rid of their iPhones are selling them to other people, and that's continuing to go. And Apple seems to be okay with that because they want to sell those people services. Next quarter, Apple will have more services to report. Apple Card is going to launch in August, according to Tim Cook. And of course, we already know that Apple TV Plus and Apple Arcade are going to launch in the autumn. And we're probably going to get new iPhone models, at least announced, maybe not for sale, but at least announced by the end of the next quarter. So they'll have a few possibilities to drive revenue up. And if those phone models do go on sale before the end of the quarter, that will boost iPhone revenue. We'll see if it brings it back up above 50%. But I look at this, Scott, and I think this is Apple doing what they say they need to do. They know the phone market worldwide is slowing, and they're going to make that up with services. And so we see phone revenue declining, not precipitously, not falling off a cliff, but declining as expected. And we see services revenue coming up. It's not outperforming. It's not going gangbusters, but at least it's going in the right direction. And their revenue was flat, up 1% year over year is pretty much flat.
Yeah, I actually have a theory. I don't know how much water it holds. Clearly, they know what was coming, or that they've talked about this for a while, about services being beefed up, slowing of the market of phones, blah, blah, blah. That all makes sense to me. But I have this theory. Tim Cook's gotten up on multiple occurrences where he's been on stage and said, we know you're keeping your phones longer. Oh, by the way, we have a reporting tool that will tell you how much time you spent in what apps on which phone and how long. Also, we're going to do some things with battery that make your older phones last longer. Basically, they've said, we know you're keeping them longer, and so we're going to give you more services and abilities to use those phones longer. It's like they've embraced this idea that people aren't going to necessarily buy a new phone every fall, year after year after year. I think for a while, obviously, that was the goal, and people did. But they've embraced that in a way that actually feeds the services side. So it's a subtle message, but I actually think it worked for them.
I mean, you could also cast the exact same thing you said as Apple noticed what people wanted and responded to that market, We tend to think that corporations have all the power and just dictate what we do, but turns out, people en masse, maybe not each one of us individually, but people as a whole have an effect on companies too. And they're like, well, people are holding on their phones more often. Maybe we should move from making our money off of unit sales to making our money off of selling people services for the entire life of their phone. We're going to make more money that way.
Well, speaking of Apple, they announced it will join the open source data transfer project, which is developing interoperable systems to let users move data between services. The aim is to allow direct transfer of data without having to export to a hard drive and then import into a new service. Think iCloud and Dropbox and a million other services. The data transfer project includes Tim Berners-Lee's Solid, Mastodon, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter. Now Apple joins that consortium, and I guess we'll see what they want to do.
If you have been following DTNS closely, you know that I have been very bullish on the idea of open source data transfer. I've mentioned Tim Berners-Lee's Solid quote several times as an example of a good project that, if it can get momentum, could provide what we want and solve a lot of these privacy issues. Because if it works and is adopted, you would control your data and you could withdraw consent to see it from people. And you wouldn't have as many of these concerns about, oh, my data's in a million places, I don't even know where it is, right? So seeing Apple join this, following on our Apple earnings comments, makes sense, because they're like, well, we want to make it easy for people to join our service. And if that means letting them bring their Google photos in at the risk of also letting them take their Apple photos to Google, then so be it. Maybe that's a good idea. I did not realize Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter had already joined the data transfer project as well. They joined last summer. So it's not done by any stretch. It's not like, hey, we've solved the problem, but this is looking very positive. This is what you want to see, is Apple joining with the others to say, yeah, okay, let's make it so that you can move your data between our different services. So then we can just compete on who has the better services rather than monopolizing the data. It also makes sense for Apple because Apple says, we don't want to monetize you. We just want to sell you services.
Right. I think that is, I agree 100% across the board. And it reminds me of other changes that are happening. The video game industry is experiencing this a little bit, but not so much with data, but with universal logins via multiple platforms, playing over those multiple platforms. Like, this is the same kind of battleground, or not battleground, but this is a place where companies are finally starting to figure out ways to be more interoperable and compete on actual products and services, and not on restrictions or how much of a pain it would be to switch a service. I really like that. I feel like that actually is pro-competitive, and happy to see them join, and anxious to see what these guys all come up with.
Yeah, I am too. And then if it was just the companies joining, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But the fact that it's got Tim Berners-Lee's Solid, the fact that it's got Mastodon, gives me hope that maybe this is for real. And you need all of those. You need the open source projects, and you need the big companies to make this work.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about reading your mind. A team led by neurosurgeon Edward Chang at the University of California, San Francisco, funded by Facebook Reality Labs, published in the journal Nature Communications that it had developed a brain-computer interface that can decode words and phrases, both heard and spoken, in real time. Now, this isn't a product. This is, we're watching someone speak, and we're looking at our machine learning algorithm to see if it is correctly saying, yeah, that's what they're saying, right? So it's a cheat right now. But the question is, can they actually do it? And they can. The process decodes two kinds of information from two different parts of the brain to increase the accuracy. They're adding context. So a machine learning algorithm uses the activity in the brain to determine, is a person listening or are they speaking? Then the algorithm uses context of what the patient heard to determine what sound is being imagined. So if there's two sounds that are looking very similar in the speech cortex, they can use the context of what was asked to figure out which of those it is. That's going to help the machine learning algorithm get better, of course, in the future. And the system right now can decode perceived sound, what you hear, 76% of the time, and produced sound, spoken speech, 61% of the time. Granted, this is a restricted set of questions and answers, The aim of the research is to restore speech in stroke or spinal cord injury patients, and the next steps are to improve the algorithms and widen the vocabulary that the system can understand. So it's early days. But you might have noticed that I mentioned this is funded by Facebook Reality Labs. And what Facebook wants to do is get this tech up to speed so it can put it into augmented reality headsets so that you can control them by thinking.
Yeah, 100%. That and, prosthesis that you could have for a missing leg or something. There's huge application for this, and your brain can kind of go crazy. It doesn't just stop with the immediate discussion of what the research is for. It goes really far and wide, and I really like this sort of stuff. And I would argue, even though those questions are limited and it's not like these statements are super complex, 76 and 61% is a really strong showing for the potential of this thing.
Right. It's so tempting to just go like, yeah, okay, they're reading your mind, but
Right.
they know what it's a restricted set. I think, yeah, but they're reading your mind, right?
Right.
It gets better.
Yeah, get excited about a thing because this seems like science fiction made real. Everything starts poorly. I mean, I say things to my Echo these days that if I'd have told you 20 years ago I was going to be able to do one day, you would have laughed me out of the room. So small steps, baby steps, we'll get there. And the idea of being able to, for me to be able to think things and have things happen outside of my normal body processes is so exciting. I'm ready for my chip, I guess is what I'm saying. Let's go.
Yeah. And right now, this is UCSF researchers. This is meant for medical use. But with Facebook funding it, we are absolutely going to have a lot of controversy once Facebook starts to try to make use of this about Facebook reading your thoughts. You think people overreacted to the idea of Facebook setting up an independent cryptocurrency? Imagine Facebook taking this research and saying, okay, we've got a way to read your mind. Like, get ready for people to flip out.
Yeah, next level.
If Facebook is still around by the time this gets perfected, which this is not going to be perfected soon. It's going to take a few years.
Get on board for the long haul, everybody.
Yeah.
Security researcher Beto on security, nothing to do with the current presidential candidate, noticed that the Netflix app on Android requested access to his physical activity data, meaning what your phone's saying.
Netflix wanted to know if he's swimming or biking or
right. It's a very weird thing to want to know what your accelerometer is doing as a service that just gives you movies and TV. But anyway, Netflix told the Next Web, quote, This was part of a test to see how we could improve video playback quality when a member is on the go, in a car, in a train, I guess, at the gym, running at a treadmill.
For activity data, it would be at the gym, running, swimming, etc. Yeah,
sure. So not all Netflix accounts
watching Netflix while they're swimming. But
you could. Right? You get enough waterproof stuff, I guess. You
could listen. You could have it off to the side while you're swimming. You're listening to David Letterman interview somebody.
Yeah, very weird. But anyway, not all Netflix accounts are in on the test, and Netflix doesn't have any rollout plans at this time. So don't worry, it's not coming to you anytime fast. Android Q has added an activity recognition permission to Android Q to let developers know you're in motion when you're using the app. This could be used to help figure the best way to buffer video so it doesn't skip, as an example. I still find this a little head scratchy. Like I'm not saying I don't buy their reasons. They have the money and the desire to test all sorts of use case questions and whatever. And I think they should probably do some of that. And they certainly ask you first. You can say no.
Yeah, right. This is part of Android where you give the app permission. It's not stealing it.
It's just an odd thing to ask me though for a video.
You gotta sell me on why, because you're not asking me, like you said, to be on a train. Right? Like, oh, are you? Can you let us know if you're moving on a train? I mean, I guess that given the accelerometer would let them know that, but I feel like the optimization of video while moving is a real thing, but it feels like you only really can make a difference if you're trying to optimize it while I'm in a car or a train or something going high speed.
Right.
I mean, I run pretty slow. Other people run fast. They still don't run fast enough to like flip from cell tower to cell tower every couple of seconds. So what exactly is necessary? Like also if I'm running on a track or if I'm swimming or if I'm cycling in place, does that matter? I mean, it feels like they just want to know what activities people are doing while they're watching video, but that's not what they're saying. What they told Next Web is they want to improve video playback quality.
Right. And they also didn't say, I mean, they just straight up didn't say it. So I don't know if they could say it, but this isn't saying that they're going to they're not taking this data and saying, well, we're going to make a whole bunch of exercise video.
Right.
Like they didn't say that either. So for me, none of the use cases seem that
I have no problem with Netflix having that information if they ask for it. Like, hey, can we know about your activity so we can decide what videos are great for people while they're working out? I'd be fine with that if it's all above board, but they're saying it's for video playback quality. And that's the part. I know we have people out there who work in video streaming. Let us know, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. If you're like, oh no, the legitimate reason you might want to do that for activity is X, because I'm not quite seeing it.
Yeah, me neither.
Lowcast, poor Lowcast. Lowcast, if you don't know, is a free donation-supported internet service that operates in 14 cities right now in the United States, streaming local broadcast stations over the internet, only in their home markets. You're like, wait, didn't Aereo get run out of business for that? Well, there's a difference. Aereo was a for-profit company. Sports Fans Coalition New York, which started Lowcast, is a nonprofit operation and is taking advantage of a 1976 law that lets nonprofits retransmit broadcast signals as long as the nonprofit does not receive any, and I quote, direct or indirect commercial advantage. So Lowcast is saying, we're taking donations from people to cover the cost of operations. We're not making any money off this. All we're trying to do is make it available on the internet for people to watch their local broadcast if they live in a building where the broadcast isn't very good, et cetera, et cetera. It started in New York by people who wanted to watch sports games that were broadcast over the air. Now, it's operated for a year and a half. And finally, as we all knew would happen, ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC have jointly filed a lawsuit against Lowcast. The suit alleges that Lowcast has admitted it is used to help authorized services negotiate lower carriage fees with broadcasters. I don't know if Lowcast has admitted it, but Charter did. Charter said, hey, we're in a carriage dispute with the broadcast stations. Go use Lowcast. They're free.
Yeah.
The suit also alleges that Lowcast is securing commercial advantages in the form of nationwide app distribution and collection of viewer data, and points to AT&T and Dish as being commercial beneficiaries. Now, remember what I said. The law says you can't have direct or indirect commercial advantage as part of your operation. The suit is saying that AT&T and Dish are getting commercial advantage from Lowcast. So it's kind of flipping the language of the law on its head a little bit. And also, the commercial advantage that AT&T is alleged to get is that AT&T gave money to Lowcast, which it did, and in return has included the Lowcast app on the DirecTV and Uverse set-top boxes, which anybody can do. I have the Lowcast app on my Apple TV. Lowcast founder David Goodfriend also used to work for Dish, and that appears to be the commercial advantage that somehow Dish gets, is that a former employee has started Lowcast. I think they're trying to imply like, oh, Dish told him to go do this so that they could get better negotiations. It's all about negotiating carriage fees. I have no idea if you could convince a judge that Lowcast is illegal under this, but I know that this gives you the shakes, Scott, as someone who loved Aereo, and Aereo, which was for profit and went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, yeah, saying you have 1 million antennas doesn't really exempt you from having to pay a carriage fee. How do you feel about this? I know Lowcast isn't available for you, but does it bother you?
Well, I mean, I'd heard about it and got excited about it because it seemed like a cool solution, and immediately was reminded of Aereo. Like immediately, I was like, "Oh, that thing! It's like that kind of, except maybe better because this is not for profit, and maybe this will come here, and I can't freaking wait, and I can finally cancel cable for all the other reasons I want to cancel it." And I already canceled cable. I guess I have DirecTV for free right now with a phone deal I got. But anyway, I would really like local programming in this way, and now I feel the same burn as I did last time. It's not going to happen, probably. I mean, they have to win this suit, I guess. But that's ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. They've got deep pockets. They have lawyers willing to go the distance.
Yeah. You've got Disney, CBS, Fox, and Universal, or Comcast in the case of NBC.
Yeah. How do you fight that?
Because Comcast is also benefiting from Lowcast on its cable business. So.
Well, and that's the other thing I wanted to say real quick. The idea of the direct or indirect commercial advantage thing, the law that they're sort of using as the reason they should be able to operate in this way. It's so different now than it was in 76. And I don't mean just the times have changed. I mean, collection of data is everywhere all the time on any service. And if you're a nonprofit, you're still doing that. And that stuff is perceived and or maybe legally recognized as commercial advantage, because now you have names, and names are money. Contact information matters. Like, I don't know how they thought they would get away with that particular squeeze by without getting some heat. So like you said, we probably knew the suit.
Oh, they didn't. In fact, in interviews, David Goodfriend has said, yep, we've been preparing for this. We knew this would happen. We've been digging in our heels. I guess the dots they're trying to connect is AT&T gave money and a former Dish employee founded this. So they're going to try to convince the judge this is AT&T and Dish creating something that they get commercial advantage from. They're going to have to establish that AT&T and Dish are responsible for Locast. Then they can say, and Locast indirectly provides a commercial advantage to them. But whether you can say that AT&T giving them a donation and whether you could say a former employee founding something makes them responsible for it, I think is a tall order. We'll see.
I think I agree. All right, moving on to a tablet bit of news. No, it's not an iPad. Samsung announced the 10.5-inch Super AMOLED Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 tablet with a Snapdragon 855 processor, up to 15 hours of charge, and an S Pen charges wirelessly and attaches magnetically to the back. The Tab S6 also has a rear dual lens camera with a built-in neural processing unit for scene optimization and optical fingerprint reader that is built directly into the screen. The Tab S6 sells for $649 with 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage for $729, or 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. Let's see, they don't have the price. Oh no, sorry,
$649 for 6 gigabytes and $729 for 8.
Pre-order start August 23rd, so that's coming right up. I use a tablet all the time now. My current tool of choice is an iPad Pro, a pencil, and some art software that I think is crucial for anyone creating art and design these days. I was talking pre-show about the artist who currently works on the Captain Marvel series for Marvel, not the movie, but the comics, is doing the entire process in an iPad Pro with a pencil and Procreate, which is also amazing. And it's kind of become a tool du jour for artists and illustrators everywhere. And I've said this on the show a few times. What I would really like, so that Apple keeps making good stuff, is for all these guys to keep competing in this space. And I think Samsung, if anybody, would have the ability to do it, given that they're the only ones that seem to really be spending a lot of time in tablets, since Google seems to have pulled away a bit and focused more on Chromebooks. So that's what I would need to see here. I would need to see their commitment to my particular need for me to get super jazzed about it. But I also think that the tablet market needs competitive alternatives. And right now there really aren't very many. So this is good for everybody. Whether or not it's a tool I can use or not, I guess I need to see when this thing hits and we get some reviews and stuff.
It's all about that S Pen for you, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And Samsung also has their DeX ability, which is the ability to turn this thing into a more laptop, desktop type experience where you can have multiple windows and everything. And that's built into this as well. But that's less of an issue for the artist in you. I know.
And I should mention that. Like, I realize I have a very specific corner that I'm aimed at here. And I'll fully admit that there's a million things people are doing with their tablets these days, iPad or not. And so I'm not really thinking about any of that. Surely this is going to be great at watching video, and it's going to be great at flicking through my news feeds and all the other things tablets are great at, and even more so in docked mode. Like, that stuff's going to be awesome. Can I create a beautiful painting on it? I don't know. I just need to find out. So I guess I just shout out to the other artists. Keep your eye on this one. It's possible. I'm still holding out for Microsoft Surface to get better. Like, we have options. It's just, it's just good to see Samsung sticking to that market and throwing some love its way.
Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, although today was like 6 minutes, I guess I read slow, subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. Also, big thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, and our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/dailytechnewsshow. Let's check out the mailbag. Michael from Suddenly Summer, Yokohama here. I hope you're keeping cool, Michael. They've been having a major heat wave in Japan. The first purpose I thought that the Soli radar in the new Pixel 4 phones would serve is interpreter for the deaf, says Michael. If you don't remember, Soli is the chip that Google says it'll put in the Pixel 4. They'll be able to read your hand gestures, so you can control the phone without touching it. Michael says, your description of the technology a month or so ago screamed accessibility feature with precision to distinguish finger gestures. And why invent a whole new gesture vocabulary when such a language already exists? Granted, it'll need to be translated to the various sign languages that correspond to spoken languages, since there's not one single sign language for the world, but they've already got the Google Assistant working for those spoken languages. I remember learning a little bit of sign language in elementary or middle school in the 1970s, and I don't recall if it was part of school or not, but like many of the accessibility functions on computers and phones, some of these things leak out to the general population as they are handy. Get it? Sign language, handy. I imagine that such functionality could initialize a revolution in tech for the deaf. I don't know anyone who is deaf personally, so this speculation may be way off. But when you first talked about it, I recall hearing the word accessibility leading me to think it was for sign language. I was sure that if Allison was on the show, she'd have pointed that out too. Yes, she would have. The air-conditioned shirt on Monday's show caught my interest as well. Looking into it. As always, take care. Yeah, Michael, if you get that shirt next year, let us know how well it works. And great point. The Soli radar demos have been much more precise than the one that they discussed for the Pixel 4. I imagine that has to do with maybe power consumption or the amount of space they want to put in the chip somehow. But it does seem like the Pixel 4 is a little less precise. But those finger gestures that it can do in the demos, man, that's you could definitely have a phone that recognizes sign language for sure.
Yeah. Love it.
Well, thank you, Scott Johnson, as always, for being with us. What you got going on to tell folks about?
Oh, man. A lot of stuff. So I have this game that I've been making called Space Rocks Incorporated. It's a card game, and I've been working on it for a long time. And then I found out that an internet friend and someone who a lot of people probably know, Gary Whitta, has a game that he's working on called Space Rocks. And I went, oh, shoot. I didn't know about this. Well, let's change it around. So now it's called Rock Runners Incorporated. But the game's pretty much the same. Anyway, I'm this close to launching it. So sometime before the end of the week, there will be a web link up. It's not up yet, but it will be. So write this down or remember it or make fun of me for doing it now before it's up. But the address is going to be frogpants.com/rocks. And on that page, I will have details about the game, how it works, how it's played, some images of the actual card game. I have another sample coming to me in the next couple of days. I'm very excited about it. It's a thing I've wanted to do for a very long time. So if you have any interest in that, check that out. And in the meantime, you can also follow all my goings on, including that, over on Twitter at Scott Johnson.
Folks, we are an independent organization. We are not beholden to anyone but you, and we want to keep it that way. To stay independent, we're one of the only independent tech voices, probably the only independent daily tech voice out there at all, which means when we're thinking on all sides of the issue like we like to do, we're doing it because we want to. We're not doing it because we think it's the best thing for our masters. So if you want to keep us that way, the only way to help us be sure of that is to support us on Patreon. We try to do some things to thank you for that support, but the biggest thing we do is this show. And thanks for that support. So help us out at patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Send us an email. We're also live on Twitch, Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 20:30 UTC. All you got to remember is dailytechnewsshow.com/live to go there to watch us. Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Nice.
That's how you do a show.
Yeah, that was a nice, tight, good one. I really like it.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody likes the show.
Yeah, it was good
stuff. But what should we call it?
That's a great question.
Well,
that a day.
People decide, because we could call it Bob or a day, but no, we're going to call it what you want at Bang S Command. That's how you submit a title for Daily Tech News Show, whether you're in Discord or Twitch. !S and whatever title. If you want to title the entire Good Day Internet, you can do that too with the Bang G command. But let's go to dtns.showbot.tv and find out what awaits us there. We have
I'm missing a spot. Sorry.
Spotify missed a spot.
The loco case of Lowcast.
I like that.
It's not bad.
I'm ready for my chip, Mr. Zuckerberg.
I don't want him to give it to me, if I'm being honest. But
you don't want Zuckerbucks?
I mean, I want Zuckerbucks. I just don't want him to give me the chip. That's all.
Brain book.
Let's
A little
see.
head scratchy.
A
Huh?
little head scratchy. Netflix getting physical is really good.
That's a good one. I like
Yeah.
that. Get
You guys want
Netflix
to do
getting-
that? Netflix getting physical?
I think that's the one.
Cool.
That's a strong pick.
And then for Good Day Internet, twitch.tv or gdi.showbot.tv, gdi.showbot.tv. Immortality coming posthumously. Mojam, that's so good.
That's pretty good. I think you take that, right?
By the way, AJC with Netflix getting physical. Thank you for that. For GDI, How Live is Live, Only When We're Dead, Zuckerbucks, Space Currency in the Costnerverse. From
Ah,
I think that's a winner.
Yeah.
which one? Space Currency?
Space Currency in the Costnerverse.
Do that one.
Costnerverse.
Dirt and paper.
That's good.
Nick I. Green also had Adventures in the Costnerverse. BioCal suggested Best Country in the Country. WGEL. The best country in the country.
In the country. It's a hell of a line.
I wonder if they're still using it. I'm going to WGEL.com right now to see.
Nice.
The best in heritage and
I believe it is still
contemporary music.
managed and owned by John Kennedy, not the president. Different John Kennedy.
Not John F. Okay.
John G.
I don't know what John WGEL John Kennedy's middle initial was. I don't think I ever knew. John Kennedy was the first person to ever hire me.
Oh.
For anything?
Yeah. I mean, I did like mowed people's lawns and stuff. So,
But it was the first guy who hired you for a job.
The first time I got a W-2 and all that was from WGEL.
When you became a line item on someone's tax form.
The website for WGEL is not loading for me, unfortunately. Oh, there it is. All right. The best country in the country. Still the tagline.
Was that the one they came up with? Or you came up with?
I didn't come up with it. No, that was what I said in 1986. That was the tagline.
If it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah. Yes, that was pre-CNET days, Luke. That was definitely a couple years.
At most.
We are the market leading daily tech show.
Market leading.
If you want to keep it that way,
pay up.
Hey, give us money.
Give us money.
We need to refine that a little bit.
Pay us and pay us often.
Oh man, they have obituaries right on the front page of WGEL now. That's sad.
Ooh.
Actually, it'd be creepy if your name was on it. It's like, what? No.
I'm Merritt, 50 of Greenville. But I don't live there anymore. Or do I?
I never left. Wouldn't that be like a Twilight Zone episode? You thought you did all these things and really you were just stuck at home the entire time.
I used to have an idea for a story about someone who was, living their life and then realizing that they were, not really living their life. They were in a mental hospital or something. Very Twilight Zone.
Wasn't that also an episode of Deep Space Nine? Or no?
Probably.
Yeah, there was that episode of Deep Space Nine where Cisco was imagining that he worked for a science fiction magazine.
Yeah.
And that Deep Space Nine coworkers were just other writers at the magazine. That was a great episode. I love that episode.
I like you when they kind of veered off the kind of traditional stuff that Star Trek was doing.
In fact, I remember being very excited by that episode because I'm like, yes, this is this kind of story that I was thinking would be a great story, and they did it so well. Nick with a C points out someone in a mental hospital is still living their life. That was poorly explained, Nick. Please do have a more.
They're not physically living the life.
Have a more forgiving parse of what I meant, which was like someone living a life that was not in a mental hospital, but not realizing that they.
Or you can say what my wife says to me when I get push up my glasses and get actually, she says, Roger, no one likes when you do that.
Well,
actually, so this is the thing. I wanted to make a family crest that would just be glasses, black, dark framed glasses, and the motto of the family would be, well, actually.
What's well actually in Latin?
What I don't know. I'm the worst person to ask.
Not to be real impressed that you would just like spin that right off.
Yeah, I was about to impress myself, but it didn't work.
Tum is well. Yeah, because I don't know what the Latin for well. I don't know how to conjugate it either. Re ipsa could be actually. Re ipsa. That sounds like a good motto. Re ipsa.
Ray Ips.
Ray Ipsa.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Ray Ipsa.
Ray Ipsa. I like it.
Ooh, redopse is in fact, in reality, indeed. Yeah, I think this should be your family crest.
Yes, I will make it a crest, and I will make it a T-shirt as well.
Indeed. I mean,
family crest.
Well, actually, so that's your so you come to my estate, and that's just like the.
I mean, Molly, Veronica, and I coined that as a what is we got well actually'd.
Oh yeah, all the time you guys did.
Yeah,
it became like the #1 show meme as far as I'm concerned.
Well, actually.
Yep.
Well, actually, and I would call and say, "Well, actually, you're all wrong, all of you."
We're all wrong.
About what? Everything.
All right. I don't think that was sexual.
Well, Veronica used to make fun of me for that all the time.
She did?
Yeah, she called me a snot a few times.
Yeah.
You're a snot. It's like, you just say that because I'm right.
She didn't hold back. She has stuff to say, she'll say it. That's been my experience with V.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, in my experience, everyone does that to me.
She's kind, though.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing Belmont under the bus right now.
No, she's very kind. But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is if she has an opinion, she'll share it.
But you know, that's the thing though. Everyone does that with me. I've never known anyone to hold back on anything, even
Maybe
if
you
it's
just don't realize they were holding back because they were holding back.
maybe they were even more vociferous.
Did she ever ask you this, Roger? Did she ever ask you this?
How about a booby?
Did you ever get that? No.
Like, do I need one, or like I need a booby job?
Can someone isolate him just saying?
I don't think she's ever asked me that directly. Like she comes up to me after work. Hey, Roger, how about a booby?
How about a booby?
Something like that. She has asked me. Do you want to hit the Taco Bell before I head home?
Sounds great right now. Why? Why does that sound good?
Because it's Taco Bell.
On Current Geek yesterday, we discussed the Taxi Driver movie, and we talked about De Niro and Scorsese, and we mentioned the Irishman, where they'll be working together again.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador
Domo just tweeted both of us 20 minutes ago. De Niro and Scorsese have worked on 10 films together.
Whoa, look at that.
Streets in 1973, Taxi Driver. New York in 77, Raging Bull, which we talked about. King of Comedy, 82. Goodfellas, 90. Cape Fear, 91. Casino, 95. The Audition, 2015. And, of course, The Irishman coming out this year.
Wow. I would call that a career collaboration is what I would call that.
So with The Irishman, is it just about what happened to Hoffa and all that, or is it like there's more?
Did you see the trailer today?
Yeah.
Yes. So it seems like it's not about Hoffa. It's about
directly, but just everything around that time.
The other guy. What's the guy that De Niro's playing?
His clean, his fiction, his
after Hoffa disappears, the story carries on.
Yeah. And they do all sorts of eras.
Also,
and they keep changing.
De Niro is not Irish.
No, he's Italian.
I
would have never guessed. I'll be honest, De
Niro. He's De Niro. Robert De Niro plays Frank Sheeran. So the story is about Frank Sheeran.
Got it.
And Pacino plays Hoffa, I think, until Hoffa disappears, obviously. Then he won't play him anymore because he won't be in the movie.
Well, I wonder if they're going to reveal where he's buried.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where they're
Wouldn't that be great if that's like they literally found out, but they were keeping it the entire time just to put it from the movie?
So Frank Sheeran recalls his possible involvement with the slaying of Jimmy Hoffa.
His possible involvement.
Yeah. Your Honor, it may be true that I slayed Jimmy Hoffa. It may not. But if I had been slaying Jimmy Hoffa, here's what I know.
Slaying, that's such a rough term.
Sure can be.
I like to say that I killed him.
Jimmy Hoffa says, Frank, you slay me.
Literally.
You slay me.
First time Pacino and De Niro working together, I think, with Scorsese. Obviously, they were Godfather 2.
Oh, well, they were also in.
They were also in that movie where one was a cop and the other one was a mobster.
No, that's Heat, right?
That was not a Scorsese film. So all three of them together in one movie.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. Well, hold on. Goodfellas didn't have Pacino. You're right.
No.
Yeah.
We got Harvey Keitel back, though.
Yeah.
Taxi Driver reunion.
That was weird to see him, man.
Bobby Cannavale.
Yeah.
Is Felix Skinny Razor DiTullio.
Yeah.
All
the big names.
The nicknames. Joseph Crazy Joe Gallo.
It's pretty good.
I'll sell no crazy before it's time.
Love mobster names. One of my favorite characters in all of Futurama history was Clamps.
Oh, the robot enforcer.
Yeah.
Kirk should have a quiz called Mobster or Baseball Player. Because mobsters and old-timey baseball players had the best nicknames.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Okay, what's this?
Clickbait.
Sorry, I'm fixing something on my
Scott
PC over here.
into an episode of Film
You want I should give him the clamps?
Give him the clamps!
Clamp.
Is Film Sack 2 words?
He reminded me a lot of...
That's true. Codes from Home points out De Niro played an Irish mobster in Goodfellas.
Oh, he was Irish in that?
I think so.
That's weird.
Well, because he's Robert De Niro, you never think he's Irish.
Good. This is a solid point.
Yeah.
He's just Robert De Niro.
He's Italian because Robert De Niro is Italian.
Well, remember when Anthony Quinn used to play all the Hispanic, Latino heavies, and he's Greek.
I mean, I love De Niro, and he can act the socks off of anything. So I'm perfectly happy to see him play an Irishman. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
I just think it's funny.
I mean, he's no Mickey Rooney. And
when did we get that?
Tiffany's not an Irish name, is it? Stoic Squirrels tried to say De Niro's an Irish name.
I don't think so.
Oh, thanks.
Maybe he's having fun at your expense.
Well, that's not fun.
Why do I have to? Why does it do this to me? Why, Acast? Why?
Oh, I guess Robert De Niro has some Irish roots, though. Robert De Niro is a dual U.S.-Italian citizen, but his father, Robert Sr., was half Irish on his mother, Helen O'Reilly's side.
Really?
And a number of his own maternal ancestors were of Irish extraction. So there you go.
See, we just didn't know.
Helen O'Reilly was 21 when she married his grandfather, Henry De Niro.
Helen O'Reilly. Get your pot of gold.
Stop saying that.
Well, no, it's all,
We don't all have pots of gold. That's the leprechauns.
Yeah, you're probably right. Don't they, though? Don't they?
Or do you?
Or do they?
I'm going to start talking about your lutefisk stash, Johnson.
Oh, please do.
Wait, you can store that? I thought I guess before you...
Well, Scandinavian, of course. His house is filled with lutefisk.
Lutefisk speed.
Lutefisk.
Is that before or after you eat it?
That's the hardest level on Mario Kart.
Here's Tech Live.
Tech Live.
Oh no, we're being hosted by Curious Wicked. Hi.
Is now wait, what does that mean?
That means hosted is when you take someone's Twitch channel and you put it on your Twitch channel. So, for instance, Good Day Internet, the Twitch channel, hosts Frog Pants.
Yeah.
So that when we're not live, if Frog Pants is live, the Frog Pants show will show up on our channel.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you log in while somebody's or while you're hosting somebody, it kicks them off and makes you main again, so you don't lose control.
Yeah.
You know, that's
why
great.
I always feel bad because we're often hosting either Weird Things or Mike TV when we go live, and I'm like, hi, kicking you off.
Mike TV. If you would have a TV station named after you, would you? I don't think I would.
Roger TV
or Chang TV.
Chang the channel.
The Chang channel. I'd watch that. You kidding me?
Don't change the channel. Chang the channel. Chang TV.
Yeah, Chang TV.
Channel. Don't change it. Chang it.
Put your DVR. Set it to record tonight. When Chang TV presents, what do they show? What's our show? What's on?
I don't know. Repeats of Matlock.
No,
you know what? Would it be? I would have episodes of Matlock, MacGyver, like all the M shows on one night, and then I would just progress down the alphabet.
M Show Mondays on Chang TV.
Yeah.
Like I could do the $1 Million Man. What else
Sure.
could you do?
$6 Million Man? Because of the M's?
Oh, that's right. You have to add the 6. Nuts. I guess that comes on to Saturday or Sunday. But how would I get to the other letters? Like, how would I do a Wonder Woman? Because there's no... Oh, Wednesday. I could do Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's Zorro. There's no Z.
Yeah. Well, the problem is you got 2 S's and 2 T's, so you're gonna have to come up with something.
Like Heart to Heart. There would be no Heart to Heart.
Cutting out a lot of shows that you could just not show if you stick to literally to this.
Yeah. No Night Riders or Airwolves.
Have a Thursday night sitcom called Everybody Loves Roger. And just make it a Roger Chang version of Everyone Loves Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't want it to be a version. You want it to be something like Roger Hates Everyone. And it would just be like...
And that's derivative of Chris Hates Everyone.
Is it? What is it? Chris
Hate... Oh, how'd that go? I love that show. It was genuinely freaking funny.
Chris Rock hates... What's the show? TV show. Oh, Everyone Hates Chris Rock? Isn't that it?
Everyone Hates Chris.
Everyone Hates Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody hates Chris. Well, I had a couple of TV shows in mind, but they would all be action, sci-fi. But I guess I could do one kind of sitcom and then one sort of drama-esque miniseries.
Sign me up. I will call AT&T and add it to my lineup.
I would do a sitcom called Pho Show, and that would be just centered around a Vietnamese pho restaurant.
For sure.
Yeah. And then my dramatic miniseries would be political power play in the halls of L.A. But it would all be done.
That's what it would be called?
No, I'm setting up the premise.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry.
But the actual candidate dies mid-process, and they have to swap him around with his twin brother who has no interest in doing it, but feels obligated to do so.
And what's that one called?
I don't know yet. What would be a catchy title?
My Brother's Keeper.
Oh, that could be one.
Yeah.
Like you just have to. I mean,
Philadelphia.
Wait, why would it be Philadelphia?
Because that means brotherly love.
Yeah, and you could say nothing.
When I think of Philadelphia, I think of the movie with Tom Hanks where he plays the AIDS activist.
Yeah.
I guess that could cause confusion. You're right.
No, it's just his brother died and he had to replace him as his twin.
Roger Chang as Tom Cruise as Philadelphia.
Tom Cruise.
I mean, not Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks.
Survey says.
I still want to do my one based on the dream where everyone's dogs.
I love that dream. That is the best dream.
Django was the head of a media conglomerate. I remember asking her for a job. I think I was going for an interview. But that's how the chips fall.
How about someone who is the king of Vietnamese soup restaurants?
Could be. But you don't want it to be too, I don't want it to be like a Kim Convenience because that's a little too pigeonholy. I like it more like off, fresh off the boat.
We talked about buffets yesterday. I told Scott about that on Current Geek.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you avoid them? Do you taste it and play the roulette of gastrointestinal distress?
I don't know. I mean, right now my big thing is kimchi on everything. That's my main focus.
That's your jam.
I had it today. I had like another, I don't know, big pile of kimchi on a pork chop that was left over from the other night. I'm of the opinion, and it's all homemade kimchi. My sister-in-law, Korean sister-in-law, makes it. And I'm of the opinion that stuff is just, it's good on everything all the time. And when I was a kid, I hated it. Actually, what we were talking about?
Buffets. Would you go to a buffet?
Oh, buffet. Yeah. Sorry. I got confused. Yeah. If it's a Korean buffet with lots of kimchi, was my point.
Yeah, but see, that stuff can last pretty well. You don't necessarily need to put in I guess maybe you should.
I don't like regular buffets, like a hometown
buffet or a Golden Corral.
You don't want to wear VR helmets after someone else, but you'll eat a buffet.
Yes, I will. But like I was telling you, it would have to be one I trusted, and felt good about.
I don't even like the shared soup things like you get at a supermarket where you can pour yourself the hot soup into a cup, like when you at the deli side of the supermarket. I don't even trust those.
I mean, I don't like our local grocery store we go to all the time has an olive bar, and I refuse to do it because I see people walk through there, pull one out just by itself, test it with their finger.
Oh, that's gross.
Do stuff, yeah. So if it's a buffet or a place where I know tons of kids have been, I'm much more wary because I know they don't care. Like I didn't care when I was a kid, and I would put my hand in things I shouldn't. So I avoid those.
I wonder if they should make them like they do those candy or nut dispensers where it just comes out at the bottom of the trough and you have to use a scoop. But you don't infect the whole thing.
The soup?
Maybe, yeah, like for the soup. And it would help because typically in soups, all the heavy stuff gravitates toward the bottom.
Yeah, so that might be problematic though. You might just get like chunky soup.
So what happens is the thing gives you a big chunk and then like a little screen comes in like after like a couple of seconds and then you just get broth that comes afterwards.
Pretty ingenious actually. That might work.
Yeah, why not?
The hot soup shooter might be a problem, says Q-Star.
What's wrong with the hot soup shooter? That's a terrific name. Hey, have you tried my hot soup shooter?
Hot soup shooter.
No, and I don't wish to, sir. Please move along.
That sounds horrible.
It's steaming and so warm.
Okay, we're gonna have to cut Roger off, and it is time to end Good Day Internet. So thank you, everyone.
I'm dehydrated.
Please have a good day,
and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Ludicrous fiend.
Whoa.